Hey, what's going on, you degenerates of the lesser internet? Welcome back to my living room and gaming channel, where I hope you will follow me on a journey of debauchery and madness as we discover gaming together. I got quite a few things on the docket today. I didn't expect to. I just did a video like a week ago. Didn't expect to... I pumped that video out because I wanted to talk about some of the stuff. It was a little time sensitive. I didn't want to wait another week to talk about some of the shit, as some of the topics were already a week old. But here we are a week later, and I didn't think I'd have so many things to talk about. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things on the docket today, so I better get the weirds out real damn quick. Anyway, I'll probably be getting them out here as the video goes. I just want to check in real quick. A couple things. If you want to skip something, a reminder down in the comments, down on the bar there. You could. I got the timestamps for the different topics. So if you're sick of hearing me talk about something, or just want to skip something entirely, or you're just tired of my opinion on the subject, I don't know, just go ahead and do that. I got the timestamps down there. I'm a big fan of them. Makes it easier for you to just skip that shit if you want. Also, little mini announcement. I got a second channel. I'm not going to put any links or anything like that, but just go ahead and click on my main channel. Over in the channels, the promoted channels section, I got my secondary channel, is Turbo OT. Stands for Is Turbo Off Topic. I talk about off topic, off the wall, crazy shit there. And I did a whole video about health and my recent trip to the doctor, if you missed that. So go ahead and check that out. So just to get some of y'all who might not have done that up to speed, I'm doing something. I got to get healthier. Doctor said so. And so I'm on a whole new diet. And your boy lost 10 pounds in 1 week. Your boy lost 10 pounds in 1 week. Yeah? Doing good. Got me a new exercise bike here. It's going to be a staple in the video from now on. It's going right here. I know it's really obnoxious, right fucking here, but I got it facing my TV. I could play video games and watch TV, YouTube, Netflix, what have you. And I would just sit on the couch and just watch and play. But now, if I'm playing something, if I'm watching something, it's right here on the exercise bike. That has a lot to do with my my weight loss too. So got some of that shit out of the way. We're gonna be talking about 343 Industries some more. Dunkey, Xbox parity. We're going to be doing a lot of PlayStation. We've been talking about PlayStation a lot here. I think that about covers it. I just washed this thing because it was starting to smell. Ew. And I got water all up in here, so every time I take a sip, it just dribbles all over me. All right, let's get into it. Without further ado, let's dive the fuck on in to this shit. I wanted to start off with a quote. This is by Google Stadia boss Phil Harrison. Let me just read this for y'all. It was a question asked to him a couple years ago. Is this just another ambitious Google project that will disappear in a few years like Google+? And his response is, quote, I understand the concern, but I think all you have to do is look at the level of investment that we have made and continue to make in Stadia. This is not a trivial project by any means. This is a very, very significant cross-company effort that isn't just my team, but also across YouTube. It's across our technical infrastructure and networking team. It represents thousands of people who are working on the business. I read you that because we all knew it was coming. We all knew they were full of shit. But the Stadia arc is officially closed. Google Stadia is now dead. They're closing it down. It's been added to the Google graveyard. It's no more. They're shutting the servers down. They're issuing refunds of software and hardware made in the past few months. It's officially gone. Donezo, motherfucker. You're fucking done. And we all knew this was coming. If you didn't already know, Google Stadia was... it was a false flag. I just wanted to... Google Stadia was supposed to be another option in gaming. It was going to join the 4 major platforms. We got Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. And, you know, I consider PC gaming is kind of its own thing. I don't really consider that a platform. It's just... It's free. PC gaming is free enterprise. You know, there's a lot of things, a lot of ways you could play Linux, etc. But I consider Steam a major platform. PC gaming in general. The 4 major platforms. This was supposed to be the 5th major platform by a major company, Google. And they had hardware. It was supposed to be a thing, but not just before launch and not far after launch. Things, red flags everywhere for people like me and you. Red flags everywhere. We knew that they weren't putting in the due diligence. Gaming, especially there's a reason why it's only Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. There's a reason why it's just them. You ever wonder, it's like, well, where's this other console? Oh my god, a fucking fly flew in my face! Get out of there! There's a reason why. There's a reason why it's just the 3 of them. You ever wonder, well, why hasn't anyone else gotten into the space? How come there's not another big competitor? How come the big companies, Panasonic, Google, Amazon, why aren't they a big player in this? The reason is because, well, one of them, there's many reasons, but one of the reasons is because it's fucking difficult. And while I applaud, kinda, you get a slow clap, you get an applaud, Google, for at least trying. I think they bit off, well, I don't think, I know so. I thought years ago when they first announced this thing that they bit off more than they could chew. Then they showed that they bit off more than they could chew, and now they've proved it by shutting this shit down. It's not as easy. Microsoft and Nintendo, they have infrastructure that they built. And I don't just mean things on the back end. I mean relationships, partners with tech companies, chip makers, factories. It cost fucking money. Sony and Nintendo do not have the money Microsoft does. Microsoft bulled their way through in the early 2000s into the console and gaming business by sheer force. There was a little bit of finessing there that needed to be done. They've never been the market leader, ever, not once. Not even in their most successful generation, the Xbox 360 generation. It is a common misconception that the Xbox 360 outsold the PS3 in that generation. Not true. They did for the whole generation leading up to the whole 12 years. And in the final year or two of that console generation, either just after or right before the Xbox One and PS4 generation started, the PS3 officially climbed and overtook Xbox 360 numbers worldwide. So there hasn't been a single generation where Microsoft came up on top. They ate a lot of costs, but they're still in the game. And that's with all the money they have. Google could have done the same with their money. Google could have done the same. And to be honest, even though I don't like Google as a company, for political reasons, humanitarian reasons, a whole bunch of reasons, I think having a fourth competitor well, fifth, we'll say, in the space, really could have done some good. I mean, just look to see what Game Pass has done for PlayStation. You know, PlayStation got a fire lit under their ass. They're doing, the PlayStation Plus, and they're doing a lot of things because as a direct response to Xbox's Game Pass and Xbox's backwards compatibility. They're heading in the right direction. They're not as good in those categories as Microsoft, but they're at least heading in the right direction. That's what competition does. This could have been a game changer for everyone, but they fumbled it. They fumbled the ball fucking hard, and it just goes to show how difficult it is to get into this race. There's not a lot of many people who can do that. Microsoft, like I said, and this was back in the 2000s, they muscled their way in with Microsoft money, and the rest is history. It is what it is. But ever since then, it's been exceedingly difficult. There have been people who have tried. We now have Stadia. Remember the Ouya? There was the Intellivision recently. Intellivision and Atari. They both tried to get back in a couple years ago. That Atari VCS. Where the fuck is that? It's out. It shipped. Where the fuck is it? Where are the new games coming out for that? Do you see that logo anywhere? Oh, also coming out on the Atari. You don't see that shit nowhere. And the Intellivision. I believed him. I believed him. What was his fucking name? The little guy that used to be on G4. Tommy Tellerico. He bought up Intellivision, and I really believed in him. I don't think he lied. I think he just was in over his head, and things got difficult, and then he started to lie to cover up certain things. I think that's dead in the water. I don't think Intellivision is ever going to ship. But at the beginning, at least, I was pretty stoked for it. Just the idea of this cheap box that just do 2D pixel art games. Games priced at, like $4 to $6 max. I thought that would be really cool. We were going to get a true Earthworm Jim sequel. I was a believer with that thing. I was a believer with Stadia too. Well, I wouldn't say a believer, but like I've said many times before, I invested in it. I pre-ordered it. I never got it because I canceled my pre-order. I pre-ordered Stadia when it was announced, and my reason being was because I wanted to get in on the ground floor of new console streaming and gaming tech. I wanted to be a guy that was there day one, so 10 years from now, if it became a thing, I could say I would have been there from the beginning, and I would have been able to experience it from the get-go. I made a fantastic choice and canceled my pre-order before the thing came out. I saw the writing on the wall. I saw little things that they were doing with their policies. They had certain policies I didn't like. The way they were handling games and cross saves. I didn't participate in the beta, but there was bad things we were hearing from that. I thought, you know what? I don't know if these guys are serious. They seem to be cutting a lot of corners. They're not putting in the effort and the time that it takes. I think they're expecting some sort of like instant recoup in money, just people to just latch onto it, and if it doesn't work, they're just gonna cut everyone loose. I felt that, and so I canceled my pre-order. That was the best decision I made. And here we are, just it was like 2 years later, Stadia is officially dead. I'm just massively disappointed because they're one of the few people who could have done it. They're one of the few people who could have muscled their way into the gaming space. Especially these days with cloud streaming and everything, they could have done it. Apparently, their servers and their infrastructure, the way it was set up, it was top-notch. People are saying that it was even better than Microsoft's Azure cloud servers. Cloud gaming in recent years has had major leaps and strides. I heard when people are playing on cloud streaming over Game Pass on their phones or something like that, that it's indistinguishable for some games, for some people. just a disappointment, a massive disappointment. I'm not championing Google. I hate Google. I think they're one of the slimiest, shittiest big tech corporations, especially when it comes to humanitarian things and politics. Ugh, I hate their politics. But just very disappointed in them. They really could have done something. Amazon's kinda doing something with Luna. Maybe someday that'll be a thing, but you don't hear too much about it. They're being a lot more quiet with Amazon Luna. That thing I did try. I did like hook up and try some of that stuff when it was in its beta phase. I used a Xbox controller, but Stadia is officially dead. Good riddance. All I have to say is, if you're gonna fucking do it, if you're gonna try, then fucking do it. You're gonna have to take some losses, because if you're going to get into this space, at least on the level where you're going to at least attempt to compete with the top 3 or 4, if you want to become one of the major pillars, you need money, you need to muscle your way in, which they did, but they gave up right afterwards. They gave up right afterwards. I think the nail in the coffin was when they shut down first-party teams. They're like, we're not making any new games for this thing, and everyone was like, we know what that means. They have no idea what gaming is about. Google, they have no idea what gaming is about. They have no idea how it works from a publishing standpoint. They just have no fucking idea, and they did shit like a year ago, like they released all their devs. They shut all those studios down. They weren't making any new games. And then they still went on to say that they were like that quote I read. They still went on to say that they're committed and shit. It's like, you're fucking lying. You're committed to what? You fired everyone that's going to be making anything. What do you think this is? We all knew it, but they thought we were dumb. That's another thing too. You can't have a company like this that thinks its entire audience are a bunch of retards. I mean, that happens a lot, especially these days, and what happens? What happens? Do I need to remind you the phrase, get woke, go broke? It's more than just wokeness in modern politics. They hate their audience. They think we're dumb. And when they try to pull a fast one on us and we don't fucking like it, they get mad, and then they slander us even more. Fucking G4 TV just shut down and fired everyone. You can't slander the audience. You can't treat them like idiots. And Google Stadia, all they've done is treated their audience like they're a bunch of idiots, like we didn't fucking know. All I have to say now is, if you're gonna do this, then fucking do it. You have to commit. You gotta take some losses. This is an investment. It might take years before your gaming company actually earns you some revenue, but you can't fucking tuck tail and run just 2 years afterwards. A year afterwards. It was a slow shutdown. A slow shutdown, firing devs, firing studios, letting this go, turning these servers off, limiting our... It was a slow shutdown, but they stopped like a year ago. They shut this shit down a year ago. It's just now that they are admitting it. Very disappointed. Very fucking disappointed. All right. Next, let's talk about the 343 Good Press Initiative. This isn't a huge news story or anything like that, but Master Chief Collection, Halo the Master Chief Collection, not Halo Infinite, Halo the Master Chief Collection. A little bit ago, they announced that they were going to be launching. And you could really tell, you could really see where the company was at and where their mindset was with Bonnie Ross at the head of that fucking company. If you didn't already know, Bonnie Ross was the head of 343 Industries. 343 Industries, of course, is the developer behind the Halo series currently. This was after Bungie's time, after Bungie left. You already knew that, though. So, Bonnie Ross, the head of the studio for 15 fucking years, recently got canned. And of course, they all had to pretend like she stepped away or some shit. Bitch got fired. And it was reported that she got fired. Insiders have gone on to report, numerous people at this point have gone on to report that yes, in fact, that this was a managerial decision on high coming from Microsoft, that they're trying to shake things up because of all the bad press and the bad numbers that they've been seeing within 343 surrounding Halo Infinite. Bitch got canned. Let's stop the nonsense. Let's stop the narrative. I'm calling every one of you guys out, every one of the YouTubers and influencers and all the faggots on Twitter. I'm calling every single one of you out that try to play nice and bullshit your way through this. Oh, she left because of family health reasons. I wish the best for her. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're an asshole. You're a liar. You're just repeating the company line in hopes that you'll get some sort of, I don't know, sponsorship from Microsoft, get your free controller. I don't know, man. Just stop with the nonsense. She did not leave. Her ass got fucking fired. You fired. Straight up. But this isn't about Bonnie Ross. Well, it kind of is. But you can really see where the mindset of 343 was here, because they're now on a good, I'm calling it a good press initiative. Halo and 343 for a long time has had tons of bad press lately, from decisions having everything to do from Halo Infinite, even going back to the Master Chief Collection. A couple months ago, the Master Chief Collection, it was reported that they were adding, I don't know if they actually added and implemented this because I haven't played the game for a while, but they were adding a virtual currency to, again, not Infinite, but the Master Chief Collection. They were adding virtual currency, so you could buy and trade skins or something to an already completed game. The game launched in a horrible state. We all know that story. It eventually got fixed up. It's on PC. It's one of the better games out there in its current state right now. It is one of the best, fantastic collections you could ask for. Not only does it have all the games, all the main games, both from 343 and Bungie, it has up-res ports. They did some work on Halo 3. That never got a proper remake or anything like that, but they did work on it, so it has a stable 60 frames per second, 4K mode, and all that good shit. It even includes the spin-off games, ODST, and what was the other one I really liked? Reach, Halo Reach. That was the last game Bungie did. So these games were great. It's in a good state now. There was no reason to go back and fuck with it, but they did. They went back after all these years, and they decided we're going to add a virtual currency to this thing to make revenue. Microsoft does not need to nickel and dime its base. Microsoft doesn't need to do that. It's not a free-to-play indie game where they need to nickel and dime their base with microtransactions. That's what Halo Infinite's for. This is a fully purchased game. And they were adding this shit to it. That did not sit well with a lot of people. I don't think I mentioned that. I might have mentioned it in passing, but I don't think I did a segment on this in the past. Anyway, the whole point I'm trying to make here is they're on a good press initiative. My fucking foot itches like a son of a bitch. I keep fucking with my socks and itching. That's what I'm doing right here. I'm not flogging the dong down here. I'd be doing this. Nah, I'm fucking... It's itching. They're on a good press initiative, and ever since they canned Bonnie Ross, you could really tell where the studio is, where their head's at, and what they're doing. I don't know if this is just a good press initiative. I have a feeling it is. I have a feeling that part of Bonnie Ross's firing was to kind of turn around and clean up the image of 343 a little bit before everyone gets on track. So they've officially reversed that decision of adding the virtual currency in the Master Chief Collection, which is, I will applaud that. It took 15 years, but I am happy to see 343 getting back on track. I have always been a 343 advocate. I was a 343 Industries apologist ever since they took over. When we saw when we saw Halo 4 come out, that was their first game after Halo Reach, and people were saying it was horrible. They miss old Bungie. 343 is trash. People have been saying that, and I've been an apologist this whole time. I didn't think Halo 4 was that bad, even though I fully admit Halos 1, 2, and 3, and ODST, and Reach, like, I like those games more than Halo 4 and anything else after it, but I thought Halo 4 was fine. I actually liked Halo 5. Yes, I wish that we played as Master Chief in Halo 5 for the majority of the time. I wish that that's what the plotline was, playing as them, not necessarily playing as Spartan Locke, who I really like the character and the actor and his story arc. I like that character and everything. I don't have any problem with that, but in the end, I do wish we would have played as Master Chief. The Chief. Master Cheeks! That being said, I thought the game was good. I thought it was a good storyline. There was some plot threads there in Halo 5 that I thought were really nice. We got to see the Arbiter again. We got to see what, what's his name? I forget the actor's name. He played, he was in Firefly. Big fan of Firefly. I like that show. He's old now, but he was a Spartan. He was in ODST, and then you saw him again in Halo 5 in Spartan Locke's team. I thought the game just did a lot of cool things. The campaign itself was fun. Loved the guns. Gameplay, of course, was solid. And I heard the multiplayer was like one of the best multiplayer builds of Halo for its time. So I like these games. There were problems with it, but I've been a big 343 apologist for a really long time. Their big thing with me, though, is they do something right, and then they just fuck something else up. They can't keep their goddamn hands out of the cookie jar for so long. And then when Halo Infinite came along, I was done apologizing. I was fucking done. I hated that game from, I don't want to say from top to bottom, but the story and the plot and how they handled the campaign, absolutely unforgivable. What works well gets the job done, but it is the shallowest campaign in all of Halo. You can't cover that up. They do Cortana and other characters dirty. There's some that they get right, but I ain't giving them their flowers. You know, credit where credit is due. Yeah, you do some good things right. I like how you handled the Master Chief narrative in that one. He was a man of few words. He talked too much in recent games. What he said mattered, since he talked so less in this one. He was a return to that strong, stoic character, and when he said stuff, it hit. I thought they handled that really well. And then, of course, the gameplay was cool. I loved the addition of the grappling hook, but other than that, fucking garbage game. And this is just the campaign I'm talking about. I didn't even play the multiplayer. As you know, I'm not a huge multiplayer dude, but I would have given this game a fun weekend to try. And if I really liked it, maybe tagged along for the rest of the month. But all the criticisms you hear of Halo Infinite come from the multiplayer side. How dead and boring it is. And then couple that with all the things that we know for a fact that were taken out and removed before the game was released. Things that they promised to add later but haven't yet. I am done apologizing for 343. Shit needs to be fucking done. And they fired Bonnie Ross. And ever since then, they've been doing a good press initiative. And so I kind of want to couple that, you know, Master Chief virtual currency story in with the Bonnie Ross firing, and kind of just look at the situation from like a 30,000 foot view. And like I said, I've always rooted for 343. I've always liked them. I've been a big apologist for years, but I'm done with that. I don't want to see them destroyed. I don't want to see them go away, even though objectively they've been fucking up for years now and shit needs to change. I'm good to see things at least starting to change. Reversing the decision with the virtual currency is a start. We don't need to see this slimy shit in these games. Keep the microtransactions, even on the free-to-play game, keep that at a minimum. Start working on the campaign. Fix it. Even though I'm never going to go back to Halo Infinite, ever. I don't care how fixed the multiplayer is. I don't care how awesome it is years later. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if they added more content and fixed the campaign. I really don't care. I got this game day one, played it. You left your mark. You left your impression. I'm not doing it. I'm not fucking doing it. But I do at least appreciate them fixing this thing, and I don't think we're going to see a new Halo at least another decade from now. At least. At least. Halo 5 came out towards the beginning of the Xbox One generation. Halo Infinite didn't come... Halo Infinite came out a few years later after the Xbox Series generation. It was supposed to come out like launch day one. It didn't come out like a year later or something like that, but they each came out at equivalent times in the console generation, so. But this was planned. Halo 5 ended like on a big cliffhanger. We always knew that they were working on the Slip Space engine in this new game. I don't think I could say without a shadow of a doubt, no one's working on the next Halo game. This is the next Halo game. So I think this is going to last a really long time. And maybe it'll clean up and be really good. Maybe people will think of Halo Infinite as, alongside Fortnite and Apex Legends. One of the big three in the future. I don't know. I really don't. But I hope them the best. I don't give a fuck about Halo Infinite. Here's what I give a fuck about. I give a fuck about 343 and the next Halo game. They fucked this one up. It's done. Get your shit together so I can root for you again and wow me with the next game. Everything else, it's over and done with. Water under the bridge. I don't know what else to say. Disappointed. But get your shit together, and I think they are. Unless, of course, like I'm saying, I think they're doing a good press initiative. And what I mean by that is maybe they're making less decisions with the outcome that I want and more on the PR side of things. They know the virtual currency didn't go over well with the public. If no one gave a fuck about it, maybe they wouldn't have reversed that decision. Maybe they would have been like, even though it was a bad thing and we don't need to be going down this route, there are levels. There's shitty and slimy things these companies do that people don't bitch about anymore. And it's just because we're tired of it. We can't constantly scream in every YouTube video that we don't like this. And it's like beating a dead horse. That's why we don't do it. It doesn't mean we like it. So it very well could have been that people didn't yell and scream about virtual currencies. But I keep saying virtual console. It could very well be that people just didn't want to bitch and scream about the virtual currency being added to the Master Chief Collection. But we did. We sounded off and they're reversing that. But what if we didn't? What if things were different? What if people were a little bit more silent on the subject because we were just tired of it? We're like, fuck, it's Microsoft, whatever. What if the YouTubers and the people with gaming channels, what if they didn't sound off on it? Like me. Like, I don't think it wasn't a topic segment in, my videos. I don't think. But what if people didn't sound off on this? Would they go back now and change it? I'm not saying definitively that I don't think they would have. Maybe they would have. I'm saying I don't know. I'm saying I don't know what they're doing exactly. All I know is they fired Bonnie Ross. They're going back and changing this. I believe they're more focused on PR and how the company looks because, let's face it, they look shitty. But I'm hoping that these are the first steps of them getting their shit back together so I could care about 343 and actually be excited for the next Halo game. I'll tell you this much, though. Next time, the next Halo game that's coming out, when that gets announced, I'm not going to be super excited. I'm sure whatever they show will look good, but my spidey senses are going to be going off like a motherfucker, and I'm going to be skeptical as all hell. Holy shit. All right, next, just want to talk about this a little bit. Video Game Dunkey. Video Game Dunkey, he's a YouTuber, and I guess he's on all the social medias or whatever. Pretty big guy in gaming. I know that because while I don't follow him, I'm not subscribed to him, I don't know a lot about his content. I have heard his name. Kind of like Scott the Woes. I know about them, I know kind of who they are, but I don't watch their content. Unlike Scott the Woes, who's a fucking kid that doesn't know his fucking asshole from his elbow, I actually respect Dunkey a little bit. I have seen a couple of his videos. His commentary's funny enough. He's in the right place. He does what he wants to do. He tries to shine a light on some lesser-known titles. That's kind of what I'm about. If I play a fucking game and I think it's fantastic, I will tell you it's fantastic, regardless of how it's priced or whatever the fuck is going on, especially if it's a smaller indie game that doesn't get the recognition I think it deserves. I will tell you what's what. And that's what this guy does, except, you know, he has like millions of subscribers. So the story here is Video Game Dunkey is starting his own indie publishing label. And he announced that, and the social justice internet went nuts. So that's the news. Dunkey is starting his own indie video game publishing company. Who is Dunkey? I just told you who Dunkey is. Everybody's talking about this. Everybody's reporting on it. And I got a little slant on the topic, as usual. Everybody's talking about this, and I have noticed this guy has been getting tons of unwarranted criticism. Tons, just tons of unwarranted criticism. They're not outright saying it's because he's a white guy. They're not outright saying it's because he's a gamer. They're not outright saying it's because he's a straight man. They're not outright saying this shit, but all the usual suspects are criticizing the fuck out of this guy and his decision to make this indie studio. And they're just kicking and screaming and flailing, especially the industry people, the people in journalism, Jason Schreier, and a couple of other known people. Most notably is Danny O'Dwyer. Danny O'Dwyer was, I think he was part of GameSpot or Giant Bomb. Giant Bomb was made by Jeff Gertzman, who was previously employed by GameSpot. I don't know. But he's an establishment shill, fake journo who doesn't like gaming and only got into the business because he wishes he got a job at the New York Times writing about politics, and he can't. And so he got a job there. Like so many of these people. So many of these people want a job as an activist or writing in a left-leaning news site, and they can't. So what do? They take a couple of college courses, and then they get hired at like IGN or something like that, and they become an editor there. It's really pathetic. That's part of the bigger problem in gaming and gaming journalism in specific. This trickles down to developers, communities, what have you. Big tech in general, platforms like Twitch and YouTube. It's a big fucking problem, and that's part of the reason why the problem persists, is it's full of people that hate gamers and hate gaming, don't play video games at all, which is fine. You do you. You do you. That is just fine. but don't get a fucking job in the industry and then tell me I'm wrong or I'm doing it wrong. Like, holy fucking shit. So, Danny O'Dwyer is this notorious social justice warrior, just this garbage, cringy guy. And he's one of the usual suspects. Every time something white or male or straight gets announced, you know what I mean. Every time something like that happens, Danny O'Dwyer or Greg Miller or Alana Pierce or fucking Jason Schreier, just so many, too many to count. They all come out and bitch and whine. Even if it's not something blatantly political at all, they will come out and sound off anyway, just to fucking put up a front. And they complain about nothing, and you don't know what the hell they're talking about, and you know why they're doing it. They're fighting just to fight. They're kicking and screaming. These establishment shills. So, alright, I've buried the lead too much on this. So, they keep coming out and they're blaming Dunkey. Like I said, I'm not a Dunkey advocate. I'm not subscribed to him. I've seen maybe 2 of his... I saw him speedrunning, doing a fun little speedrun on Mario... Super Mario Odyssey, like a year or 2 ago. Great fucking game, by the way. And he was doing some cool tricks and shit like that. His commentary was fun, but they're all coming out and slamming this guy, saying he's not the guy. He's not the guy for the job. And they're fixated on one quote he said. One quote in particular. And I'm not going to quote him verbatim, but Dunkey said something along the lines that he feels that he's qualified to do something like this because for years he's been playing indie games and trying to shine a light on amazing indie games. And his resume are tons of reviews he's done of smaller indie games that then later went on to become ultra big, like Celeste or something like that. And of course, the people who don't play video games screamed at the top of their lungs. The Danny O'Dwyers and the journalists at IGN, they all came out and said, oh, well, you know, that's a bad resume. That doesn't mean you're qualified to run an indie company. They're fixated on that quote for a reason, and that reason is because they don't play fucking games. And this guy comes out and says, I play video games. I know what's good, fam. I know what's good. That's why. And these guys don't. These guys don't know. These guys are chumps. They're shills. And they hate fucking games and they hate gamers and they don't fucking play. And they can't say the same. They can't even pretend. They can't even pretend. Sure, Dan Stapleton of IGN could come out and he could put up a fake review and say, oh yeah, the game was good. A good 40-hour game, even though it takes 20 hours to complete it. Lying son of a bitch. Yeah, these guys could fake it, but they can't fake... They can only fake it to a degree. That's the reason why. And they're fixated on this quote, and they're missing the point. The point that if they would have gotten, they would have fucking yelled and screamed even more if they would have gotten what he was saying. Dunkey was saying in this quote is that there is so much shit out there on the indie scene. Like, straight up, fire up your Xbox, fire up your PlayStation, fire up your Nintendo Switch, jump on Steam, doesn't matter where. Fire up any one of them. Go onto the storefront, go up recently added games. Tell me what's there. Super Bean Jumper. Fucking Bread Maker 2000. Just absolute garbage from these tiny shell companies from Europe and shit like that. So many shit games. So many. You gotta ask yourself... That's a whole nother topic in itself, but that's what he was saying. There's so many fucking shit games. Shit indie games. Not only do the gamers get blasted with bullshit and they don't know what to fucking do, but the actual indie devs. the devs behind Celeste and other games, Hollow Knight, etc. These devs, their games get lost in the shuffle so much. Their games get lost so much with all the background noise. He has for years been trying to showcase the ones that you should play. And he's going to be making a game publishing company to further shine a light on these games. He's going to have people play these good games. And then, of course, like I said, you had all these people kicking and screaming, taking his quote out of context, and you know why they were doing it. I just explained why. But I just wanted to point out that if they would have actually understood what he was trying to say, they probably would have freaked out even more, because there's this whole protect the developer, protect the devs at all costs, won't somebody think of the corporations mentality. That's just getting out of hand and ridiculous, and I wanted to segue into my next topic here. I'm going to have it as the same topic. But with that said, I want to jump to part 2 of what I was going to say here, which is Dan Allen Gaming. Dan Allen Gaming, if you didn't already know, is a nobody. And he will never be somebody because he fucked his own shit up. He took his dick and he fucking wrapped it around and he put it up his own ass and fucked himself. It's done. Dunzo! Wanted to talk about the Dan Allen Gaming story a little bit and continue on with what I just said and just highlight this weird mentality of protect the devs and corporate shillery. I'm not talking about a small dev team of like 5 people. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the Lily Mo games who have like 5 people employed there. There's a writer and there's an artist and I think there's like 2 program monkeys and they got their distributor. That's it. That's fucking it. 5 mofos making games. They made just a quick shout out. They made Super Perils of Baking. I know. But they made Super Perils of Baking. It's on the Xboxes and the PlayStations. I don't know if it's on Switch. Pretty sure it's on Steam. But check that thing out. It's like $10, and it's a solid pixel art side-scroller game, paying homage to the Super Nintendo era. I haven't played it yet. I bought it. I haven't played it yet. Everyone says it's fucking awesome. The Lily Mo Games is a small, very small indie studio I follow. I like their stuff. Anyway, my point is I'm not talking about like the 5-person studio. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the little bit larger ones. The mobile game scene, you know, the 30, 40, 50, 100-man team that are technically indie studios. Not all indie studios are created equal. Indie studio used to mean one thing because of how the publishing setup used to be. You used to not be able to publish a game unless you had a big publisher, an established publisher like Activision or Ubisoft or EA Games or something like that. That used to be the case. If you had to pitch to them your game, and if they thought you were worthy, then they would publish their game, and that's how it would get on the Microsoft Store, etc. It ain't like that no more. Literally anyone can do it. I could make my own game. I could buy a dev kit, pay the fees, and do it. I'm not saying it'd be easy or simple, or it wouldn't cost me anything, but I could do it. I could one-man team this shit. You hear that all the time. Oh, this game is made by one person, which is a lie. They have a producer. They have a code monkey. They have an artist. But nonetheless, it used to be like this. Now it's not like that anymore. Literally, a 5-person team or even a single person could just make a game and publish it on the big consoles. That goes back to that problem I was talking about. Why there's so much shit on the market. That's the reason why. They've opened up their doors and flooded the market with shit. I'm not talking about the small guy, though. I'm talking about the bigger devs. The people who self-publish and make a living on it and release a game every couple of months. I'm talking about those in addition to the big companies. There is so much talk about defending the corporations and these companies. Defend them at all costs. And they draw a line in the sand. Some of it's the media, some of it's the gaming hating media, and some of that culture has seeped into development culture themselves. The developers find themselves frequently, I would say developers are caught in between gamer culture and journalist culture. There's the journalists like Danny O'Dwyer and Dan Stapleton, who I mentioned before, who hate gamers and they aren't gamers themselves. They wish they were activists working for the New York Times or CNN or the Huffington Post. There's them, and then there's the gamers. And I think developers are caught in between the culture war, in between them, because a lot of them are gamers at heart and are here for us, and they do their due diligence, and they do a good job, and they serve us. Their job is to make money. Their job is to sell me a product. My job is, if I like that product, to buy it. So you better put out a kick-ass product so I can throw my goddamn money in your face. Oh, fucking take my money. Take it. That is their job. That is my job. When you try to blur the lines or act entitled, and this goes both ways too. If the gamer acts like, oh, well, they need to do this because I said so, you're being an entitled little punk. If a developer gets mad and starts trashing their audience, oh, well, they shouldn't this and say that, then they're acting like a fucking bitch. Their job is to make money. Our job is to fucking buy the product. Neither of us owe each other anything. They don't owe it to me to fix their game, and I don't owe them to buy their shit. So if they do a good job, I'll buy their shit, give them my money. If they don't, well then, deuces, bitches. I'm fucking out. There is 100,000 other games coming out that I could play instead. So the relationship there is symbiotic, or at least it should be. But you know how things go. Modern days, modern times, especially with social media, the developers often find themselves on the side of the line in opposition of gamers. And it creates a weird thing. They alienate their audiences, and etc., etc. They have the same relationship with journalists as well. They're trying to get good press. They're trying to get on their good side. And if they don't put the woke shit that they like in their games, then the publication won't cover it. A good example would be Kotaku. I believe and a lot of other publications are absolutely refusing to cover the upcoming Harry Potter game, Legacy of Hogwarts. That game looks cool. That game looks fucking cool. But they're all freaking out about it and not wanting to cover the game. Why? Because of, the fuck is her name? The fucking bitch who created Harry Potter. The one who stood up for women's rights and got called a transphobe or something like that. It's all insane. It's all insane. But you get what I'm trying to say. Developers are kind of halfway in between gamers and the journalists. Sometimes they try to appease one side a little bit, and they try to do something else to appease the other side, play both sides. Some of them straight up take sides, and some of them refuse to take sides. But I do admit a little bit that the developers are, in their own category. But I digress. There are a few who view them as clearly, at least some of them at least. There are those who view the developers clearly on one side and not the other. There are some who view the developers on the anti-gaming side. And there's this protect the developer mentality, protect these companies, protect the corporations. Give them your money at all costs. Don't slander them. You've got these people who defend them the same way they defend the journalists. And if you disagree, well, you're part of the problem. You're an other. You're a bigot. And I just find the whole thing ridiculous. And if the Dunkey and the Dan Allen gaming situation has taught us anything, is that this mentality, this narrative of protect the corporations, protect the developer, it's gone off the rails. It's jumped the shark. It's too much. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't even know what the hell they're saying. They don't even explain the points they're trying to make anymore. They just say it and hope that you'll get what they're talking about. But if you just take a step back and disconnect a little bit, if you're not on Twitter every day and you don't connect the A to the B to the C and the D because you're not reading their insanity every day, sometimes when you hear their shit, you're like, whoa, what the hell are you talking about? I wasn't here for the past week. I didn't get the rant that you said last time and how that connected to last week's rant. I wasn't here for that. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's like watching an episode of something and you miss the last couple of episodes and you're like, hold on, where's so-and-so? What do you mean they died? They're not here anymore? Oh my God, they broke up with, you didn't catch the current events on the last episode, so you don't know what's going on. That's what they do. Their narrative changes constantly. They're constantly linking points to other points. They never bother explaining a point that they're trying to make. They just hope that you'll get it out of the get-go. And if you don't, they sound crazy. So they go on and they say stupid shit. You have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And as someone who's not on Twitter and who doesn't give a fuck about their narrative, I'm sitting here on the outsides just taking stock. I'll go, this guy's saying this. This guy's making this point. And it all kind of comes together a little bit. And I never know exactly what point they're trying to make. That was my whole point with Dunkey, is they didn't come out and explicitly call him a bigot, but it's very clear that they don't like him. They don't exactly say. Because they're hoping you'll know why. I think that's called a dog whistle. You say certain things, certain phrases, and you're supposed to just get it. And no one else is supposed to hear it. Anyway, Dan Allen, the guy himself, who I'm talking about, again, buried the lead. Sorry. There's timestamps, bitch. You can fucking skip it at any time you want. Dan Allen, apparently he's some low-tier YouTuber. He's got a Twitch channel or something like that. He was breaking NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. He had first-hand knowledge of certain games and other things, and he made certain leaks. He didn't do it on his main channel. Dan Allen himself, Dan Allen Gaming, did not leak these things. He had an alt account, and he went on with his alternate account, and he was leaking things on Twitter and other places. Doesn't really matter. The point here is he wasn't a leaker. He wasn't an insider. He wasn't told this. He got access explicitly through dealings and contracts, as many higher profile streamers and whatnot do. And he explicitly broke his non-disclosure agreement and leaked this stuff. And now he's going to be blacklisted. Not only from... See, that's the thing, too. That's part of the point I want to make. He's going to be blacklisted. He already has. They're smearing him top to bottom right now, saying how stupid he was. But he should be blacklisted within gaming. The companies should be like, yeah, this Dan Allen Gaming guy, he signed an NDA and then leaked our shit. EA, Microsoft, Nintendo, nobody else should do business with him because of this. Because I'm sure they got a blacklist going on there. That he wronged the publisher, he broke NDA and wronged them. There's no reason why. He didn't wrong me. He didn't wrong IGN. He didn't wrong Kotaku. He didn't wrong Dan Stapleton. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, all those sites are going to blacklist him. Twitch is probably going to blacklist him. He's going on several different blacklists, and that shouldn't be a thing. I mean, you do what you got to do. You know, if IGN doesn't want to partner with him in the future for whatever reason, you know, that's up to them. But I don't see why someone like IGN would do that, put them on a blacklist. He didn't offend IGN. He offended Ubisoft. It was with Ubisoft. I think he specifically leaked the new Assassin's Creed before it was revealed, Assassin's Creed Mirage. Here's the thing, though. He didn't leak it. He broke NDA, yes, because he wasn't supposed to talk about it, but he didn't actually leak it. That was leaked like a couple of weeks beforehand. So the damage was already done. He literally didn't do any damage, but he did break NDA. Now here's the thing. Everyone's calling him an idiot, saying he did it for clout. I guess he said something like that in his apology. The way he got caught is he accidentally posted something from his main account on, I think, Reddit or Twitter or something, and he forgot to log out of his alternate account. He was like logged on to his main account, and so he whoops, and he deleted it and logged out, and that's how he got caught. Pure stupidity. I've done that before. I've been on Reddit or something like that, and I'm posting fucking nudes, you know, from my not safe for work channel. I'm posting my fucking nudes on there and shit. And I'm in my main is Turbo 1984 account. I'm like, oh fuck! So I like delete it, log out, and then log back into my. I've done that before. But I'm not facing thousands and dollars of fines from Ubisoft if I fuck up like that. The only thing the only repercussions I face is a couple of my followers will, you know, get wise to my my website title. I don't give a fuck otherwise. So was this guy an idiot? Yeah, he is. He literally did 0 damage except to himself. Like I said, he took that dick and he put it up his own ass. Ubisoft's not getting hurt by this. Like I said, he didn't leak this. It was already leaked. He just regurgitated it again. But yeah, it was dumb, but everyone's trashing him to the nth degree. And it's all the usual suspects that protect the developers, protect the corporations. All I want to say is, yeah, even though it was dumb what he did, he ruined his career and he got on all these blacklists. The largest driving force that you hear in this Dan Allen gaming narrative was how he wronged them and how he shouldn't have done what he did. And how he's so stupid for doing it. I'm saying he's stupid because he fucked himself. If you're gonna whip your dick out and do some fucking, you don't want it coming back on you. You don't want to hit yourself in the face. Not unless you're into that. You know? You don't want to fuck yourself. That's just a rule. You whip the dick out, you're the one doing the fucking. You don't want to get fucked. This guy fucked himself. That's what's stupid about it. That's what, in my opinion, is why he's dumb. Is in the end, he fucked himself. I don't care about what he was trying to do. He said something about clout that didn't make any sense, and a lot of people are making fun of him. Oh, he did it for clout. There's no clout. What clout? He did it on an alternate account. So that doesn't make any sense. But people are blasting this guy because he broke NDA and he wronged some devs. The thing I wanted to point out here is the people blasting him are other YouTubers and other insiders who have deals with companies, early access, promotional content, people who have signed NDA agreements. They are coming out and hating on this guy because he makes them look bad. Boo-hoo. I'm not your fucking daddy. I'm not going to tell you what's right and what's wrong. If you want to fucking buy a 10-cent game and support the Chinese Communist Party, who gives a fuck? I mean, I don't want to do that. I don't like to do that, but I'm not going to declare I'm never going to buy a game in the future published by Level Infinite, which is 10 cents shell corporation here in the United States. They haven't really gotten off the, launched yet, but they're going to. There was a ton of games that actually look kind of good. So even though I don't like Chinese Communist Party, I don't like the Chinese government, I don't like what's going on over there in Taiwan, I hate Tencent, I don't like any of that shit, I don't want to support it, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm never going to participate in that, ever. If there's a game I want to play, I'm going to play it. A good example, I could give you a concrete example. The Saudi royal family, who are just as bad, in my opinion, as the Chinese Communist Party. They bought and own SNK. SNK is an old publisher and developer that makes the SNK fighting games, and they also own... I played this game way back in the day in the arcade. I had a blast with it. I went to, I think, like GameWorks or something like that. They own... God, what's the... Metal Slug. They own the Metal Slug games. So if you buy the upcoming game, Metal Slug Tactics, if you buy that game, for instance, 100% of that money is going to the Saudi royal family. I don't want to support them. I don't want to support it. But I'm not going to not buy Metal Slug Tactics, which looks fan-fucking-tastic, just because I want to be an activist. I mean, I'll draw my lines where I choose to draw my lines, and again, I'm not your fucking daddy. You do you. I'm not gonna fucking flip you shit for it. But, I'm not gonna not buy that fucking game. I want that fucking game. You know what I mean? So, I'm not here to fucking slander people who try to do the best that they do. And if you want to boycott something or protest, you know, whatever, that's your prerogative. But boycotting Dan Allen Gaming, for instance, because he did some bad stuff, broke NDA, and you're not about that, you know, whatever. But to come out as a fellow creator, I'm in the same category as him, but I'm not in the same tier. He was making probably thousands of dollars. If you're on the level where you're signing non-disclosure agreements with companies for content, because you're an official partner in some capacity, you've made it, in my opinion. I'm probably never going to get there. But I'm not going to slander this guy for fucking off a corporation. I'm not advocating theft. I'm not advocating... Like, if you want to pirate a game because you don't like the developer or the publisher, that's still... All you have to do is just not buy their game. You don't have to pirate it. Because all that's going to do is just have them enforce more DRM in their future games, which is going to affect everyone, including you if you want to actually buy a game of theirs. But, again, I ain't your fucking daddy. You do you. I'm not advocating theft or breaking contracts. All I could say is, in the end, he fucked himself, and for that, he's dumb. If you fuck yourself, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. But I don't give a fuck who he screwed over. I don't give a flying shit that he broke a non-disclosure agreement. I don't give a fuck if Young, yeah, and Skill Up are crying about how it makes them look bad. And please do partnerships with me. Please don't, you know, take your early access away from YouTubers. I don't give a fuck. They're all crybaby shills anyway. And those are the people, like I said, with Dunkey, people who hate gamers and hate gaming. Those are the people kicking and screaming about Dunkey making his publishing company. They're not in on it. They don't get a piece of that pie. They're losing power, so they're kicking and screaming. And the YouTubers and other influencers who see the Dan Allen Gaming thing, they're kicking and screaming and crying because they don't want to lose their early access. They don't want to be punished for what Dan Allen Gaming is doing or has done. At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck if he screws over Ubisoft. I don't give a fuck who it makes look bad. I don't give a flying shit. I really don't. All these people look pathetic with this protect the developer mentality. Oh, he robbed developers of their hard work and their moment. That's another one you see too. Fucking, oh, they have their reveal moment. Who gives a fuck? Their reveal moment is for me. I take the time out of my fucking day. I used to use my PTO at work and call in so I could watch E3. I would sit there and watch it. I'm the one being sold these games. At the end of the day, I'm giving you my money. That shit's for me. That ain't for them. Fuck them. They make the product. I buy the product. That's their role. This is my role. I ain't taking away no fucking moment from them. Fuck that shit. God damn, it's so fucking stupid. Anyway, talked about this enough. Let's keep the ball rolling. Let's keep the fucking ball rolling. Uh-oh. 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 I forgot to add a... Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, yes, I did. No. I wrote Shocktober instead of what have you been playing on here. And I thought I missed a segment. I fucked all my timestamps up. Uh-oh. But, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Anyway. That better not be someone at the door. Get the fuck on. Alright. Let's get into the next topic here. I still got a few to do. I'm making good time though, I think. I'm about halfway through. Xbox parity. I want to talk about really quickly Xbox parity. This has been doing this for a while, especially back in the Xbox One era. I don't know, I kind of flopped back and forth a little bit here on Xbox parity. So back in the Xbox One generation, Xbox had a parity clause that said that if games on the PlayStation 4 that were being released on Xbox One, there was a parity clause in place that said that the games had to release on the same day as the PlayStation version, and it had to be comparable, graphics-wise and performance-wise. You can't release a game on PlayStation and then, like, 3 months later, get the Xbox One version out the door and then have it run like shit. Because a lot of companies were trying to do that. A lot of companies were trying to fuck Microsoft and do that, frankly, weak-ass, lazy-ass shit. Another reason why I'm just generally not a fan of developers and publishers at all. Like, if it's not one thing, it's something else. So this was a big thing back in the Xbox One era. Eventually, Phil Spencer ditched that initiative and said, look, we support our developers. We understand. Release your game on our platform whenever you can, in the best possible state. But they used to have a clause that said, if you don't do this, then you can't put your game on our platform. And so there was a lot of games that were like PlayStation 4 exclusives, a lot of third-party games that never came to Xbox One because of this parity clause. And I get it. But the reason why that was so bad is because definitively the Xbox One was a weaker console than the PlayStation 4. There were some games that took some finagling. You couldn't release the same game on Xbox and have it run the same way. So that's the reason why the parity clause kind of sucked. It hurt everyone. I understand Xbox like standing up for themselves and saying, hey, don't put the fucking inferior product on our platform. The fuck are you doing? Like, Do your job, meet your goals, release the game at the same time. Don't work on the PlayStation version to get that out first and then, you know, do a staggered release on the other platforms. I've never been a fan of that, but I understand where they were coming from. But again, this was at a time where the Xbox One was weaker and shit affected it differently. We're not in that anymore. That ended really quickly after the Xbox One X came out. After the Xbox One X, after that came out, the Xbox One was definitively stronger and more powerful than the PlayStation 4, even the PlayStation 4 Pro. So that narrative was washed away. But we still saw games like that. We still saw games that ran worse on the Xbox One platform. And I ain't talking about base Xbox One. I'm talking about we had games that looked and ran worse on Xbox One X than the PlayStation 4. Why was that? That caused a whole new set of problems. Then you had narratives and talking points like, oh, the Xbox and all of its hardware, it can't even run games better than the base PS4. Where'd all this power? The power of the cloud. And people are just ramming Xbox and making fun of them. It's like, dude, the problem is the lazy fucking developer not following parity. I know, right? What the fuck? Holy shit. 2 and 8 having it. So that was a whole thing. Fast forward to today, and the same shit's going on. Again, the Xbox Series X, I have them both. The Xbox Series X is definitively, it's not even a question. It's not, oh, well, kind of, sort of, if you don't account for the... No, the Xbox Series X is better than the PlayStation 5 on a hardware level. It pushes better graphics. It has a better CPU. End of story. Yeah, the SSD on the PlayStation 5 is bigger and more robust, and it has its benefits. It's really cool. I ain't saying it's not. But that is a feature. That is a feature. Processing power, CPU. That's what makes a fucking shit better. You can't put an SSD in an aging computer and go, look, it's doing all the work. My PC is just as powerful as someone else's PC with a fucking 1080 Ti. Like, no. That's not how it fucking works. Jesus. So my point here is, you want to see my fucked up hair? That's why I'm wearing a hat. I'm doing the hat. I'm doing the hat thing. Doing the hat thing. So you fast forward to today, and there's 2 games in particular. Modern Warfare 2, the beta, of course, and Wolong. Wolong is a Dynasty Warriors, I should say 3 Kingdoms game that's in the Dark Souls genre. It's being made by Team Ninja. Games look fantastic, both gameplay and visually, but there have been a lot of problems specifically with the Xbox build of both of these titles. Frame rate issues, game crashing, error codes, and other things on the Xbox Series versions that aren't playing as good as they should for a game. And no one knows why. And it's not a coincidence. It's not, oh, this happened. This is not happening on the PlayStation games. It's not happening on PlayStation at all. And it's weird. There still, to this day, is no more Xbox parity. There never was. And I don't know if there ever will be. But I do not blame Xbox for fighting this. Now, like I said, like I opened up with, Xbox had a parity clause, and shit was ridiculous, especially when they were coming in from a position of inequity. Is that even a word? Coming in from an underdog position without any power. The Xbox One was less powerful than the PS4. You can't have a parity clause if you don't have a leg to stand on. I could understand them if it was, you know, with the Series X. They should have kept on to the clause. Like I said, at some point, Phil Spencer said, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. It's dumb. They should have held on to it and then released the Xbox One X and said, look, parity clause is intact. We fixed the problem. Our system is more powerful than our competitors, even their Pro. There should be no problems. Definitively, our hardware is better. If it could run on this system, it can run better on ours. End of story. And kept that parity clause, but they didn't. So now that they're in a position of power, both at the later years of last generation and in this generation, Xbox, from a position of power, from console perspective, the hardware perspective, it's still not getting enforced, and we get shit like this happening. And this isn't it. You know, if you follow Digital Foundry and look up some of these comparison videos, there's a plethora of games that just run better and have better resolution in the PlayStation 5 versions than the Xbox Series versions. And Xbox has really been trying to take the lead this generation in the Xbox Series generation. With cloud gaming, Game Pass, they're really doing the dual box initiative. They got the Series X and the Series S. The Series S ain't no slouch either. Like, Stacy's in there running games on the Series S, and it looks fantastic. Granted, it's on a 4K TV and everything, but, like, I'm not in there, like, watching her play a game, and then I come out here and playing shit on the Series X and going, oh my god, it's so much... No, it looks and runs great, the Series S does. If you're short on cash, you got a PS5, you're good. Kind of thinking about getting an Xbox, you know, for Game Pass. Like pick up the Series S. You don't need the X. You really don't. So they're making headway, making some strides, really trying to take back the generation, doing a lot of good work in Japan. I don't know why we still don't have parity. I really don't. And I do know why. It's because they let again, this goes back to why I don't like developers and publishers to begin with. There are some excuses. There are some things that, you know, they could say, things that make sense. I get it, but the company that they're buying, Activision, who is making Modern Warfare 2, that game should run flawlessly on the Xbox. It doesn't. And I don't really know what to say. There's no real definitive, this is what's up. Just, you know, it's ridiculous. In the very least, there should be parity. In the very least, the Xbox version and the PS versions should look and run the same. They should. No matter what side you're on, it should run the same. Nobody wants an inferior product. Nobody does. A corporation does not want to put out a competing product with a third-party partner that just runs shittier on their version. That just says, don't get it on this console, get it on our competitor's console. It runs better there anyway. I know shit happens, but it's just not a good look. And Microsoft has no protections to enforce this. And because of that, what's happening? This shit is still fucking happening. It's happening after Microsoft put out the more powerful product. And it's even happening into the new generation. It's ridiculous. It really is. It's ridiculous. These developers, they just walk all over. And it's not all the developers' fault, especially with big third-party companies, anyone who has a publisher. It's the publishers telling them to do that. It's a publisher saying, look, we're going to sell more copies on PlayStation. That's the one you should focus on. It's not their decision. But nonetheless, It's just ridiculous, and I just wanted to talk about that a little bit here. This shit is still going on. This shit is still fucking going on to this day in 2022. All right. Next, got another little topic I want to talk about. Let's talk about the PlayStation VR 2. Specifically, a little tidbit of information here. As you know, I don't have VR. In fact, I've never even sampled it. I've never put on the headset at a store. I've never tried the Quest. I've never tried the Vive. I've never tried the Valve Index. I've never touched the PlayStation VR. Never even seen it. The closest I've gotten was I saw a kiosk at a store a couple of times, like at a Best Buy or something like that. And of course, I saw a couple of videos. Shout out to Markiplier, back before he got really big. Years ago, he was doing some VR. He had like the prototype Oculus Rift headset way back in the day, back when it was in its prototype stages before it even became a product. Way back in the day, he was having some, he was playing some horror games that looked really rudimentary, and it was the first time we actually like got to see this sort of thing. Hey, doo-doo. It was the first time we got to see this thing, and of course I was interested. It was new for all of us at the time of. And look at those beady little eyes. What if I poked you in your fucking eye? Huh? What if I poked you in your fucking beady little eyes? Look how cute you are. Yeah, he was running around playing some of these horror games, doing his reactions and shit like that. That's about as close as I've come to VR. Am I going to get this thing and play it eventually? I don't know. Eventually. I want to say eventually, yes. But the truth is I might draw the line there. I've drawn the line on mobile games. Not only am I not a mobile gamer, I don't have a mobile phone. Yeah, I have a government phone over there. It's not in my name. It's a family member's. They don't need it. They just loaned it to me. I have it strictly for emergency reasons only. I'll take it with when I go hop in the car, just in case I get into an accident or something. I could call AAA if I need to. Other than that, like, it's not on, it's fucking off. I'm sure it could hear everything I'm saying, but I'm not only am I not a mobile gamer, I'm not a mobile guy at all. I don't use the goddamn thing. I'm not on social media. I've drawn the line. I'm never gonna be a mobile guy. And if it turns out I'm lying, you could kick the shit out of me 10 years from now, 15 years from now, whatever. But I've drawn the line there. I don't think I'm ever going to be a mobile guy. I'm never going to have a cell phone, a real one, on a official capacity. Never gonna do it, and by extension, I'm never gonna be a mobile gamer. Never. Not gonna be a service guy. I'm not saying I'll never play a service game. I'm actually playing a service game. It's called Deep Rock Galactic. Great game. I like it. They update it constantly. It's a solid experience. It's like a brand new game every time they update it. And all of the microtransactions are cosmetic only. I really like that shit, but that's about it. I'm not like dying to play a bunch of service games or anything. You draw the line somewhere. And VR, I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to draw the line there. I very well could draw the line and say, I'm not ever going to do it. Doesn't look appealing to me. I'm not saying I won't try it. The big thing for me here is if I'm going to try it, I'm probably going to have to buy it in order to try it. So I don't know if I'm actually going to do it. But Here's what I do know. I have a PlayStation 5, finally. And PSVR, it's coming out. PSVR 2, it's coming out here soon. They're about to do a big reveal. There's not much time left. They're about to do a big reveal. It's not going to be called PSVR 2. It's going to probably be called PlayStation something. Or PlayStation VR something. I doubt they're going to do the 2. Although, if anyone was going to just slap a 2 on it, it would be PlayStation. Because of how they name their consoles. I really don't know. I don't care. That's not the point. The point is, I don't know if I'm going to get into this thing. I don't know if I'm going to want to buy into this just to try it. I'm not a huge fan of that. I would like to try it. I just don't want to put on a fucking headset out in a public headset, you know? A face mask, no less. I guess I could take my own wipes, go up there, wipe the whole fucking thing down with fucking a bleach wipe, right? Let it kind of air it out a little bit, and then fucking try it. I don't know anyone in real life that has this sort of thing. Because like I said, all my gamer friends in real life stopped playing video games. Because y'all are a bunch of chumps. Troy! Troy! Get on that shit. Buy the PSVR 2 so I can try it. Tell your mom. Tell your mom! I'll give you guys a shout out in the next video. I was gonna do it this time, but I didn't write it down because I'm a fucking bitch. But I'll give you guys a shout out. I'll write that down right now, actually. Shout out. I'll write that down. Next video, I'll give you guys a proper shout out in the intro. Because I just talked to your moms. Oh, she got legs for days. Ooh, she got legs for days. Nah, it was cool. It was cool. Anyway, I'll talk about that next video. Anyway, I don't think I'm ever... I don't know if I'm gonna... I might have to draw the line with PlayStation VR. VR in general. I don't want to, like, pay $500 to try it. I want to try this thing at least before I'm at least sold on buying one. And even after I buy one, I don't know if I'm going to be sold on it. I think I have to come to terms with the fact that VR gaming is its own vertical separate from normal gaming. And that's part of the reason why I'm talking about this right now. Is because it was recently announced that there will be no backwards compatibility for PlayStation VR with the new PlayStation VR 2 headset and setup. And the reason for that is the controller. Now, the old you could play games like, we had Doom VR, and we had Skyrim VR edition for the PlayStation VR, and it looked cool. It was Skyrim. Just straight up. The only difference is you had the headset, and the way you kind of move the kind of the flailing controls, which I've never been a fan of. But here's a point that was made, and it's a good point, and I believe it is the straight up truth. Why we aren't getting back compat with the old PlayStation VR and the new one. It's the controller. Now, while the motion controls on the new one are more sophisticated, they kind of have like the ring with all the motion tracking and cameras. It's basically a giant camera you stick your hand in. It's only got 2 buttons on it. It's only got 2 button presses. That's it. You can't play Skyrim with 2 buttons. Skyrim is a fully fucking controller. 2 triggers, 2 bumpers, 4 face buttons, 2 sticks, 2 buttons you could click, start and a select. It's a whole thing. You can't play Skyrim without a full fucking controller. You can't play it with 2 buttons and some waggle controls. It ain't a thing. You can't do it. And that's the reason why it ain't backcompat. A lot of these games were programmed around the old PlayStation Move controller, but it had buttons on it. It had a full thing of buttons on it. That's the reason why. And the point I wanted to make here is that's why it's a big problem. I've said this ever since I started talking about VR. If you would have told me back in the early 2000s, or hell, even when I was a kid, if you would have told me that VR, virtual reality, was going to be a thing in gaming in the future, that it was going to be a thing, you'd put on this headset and you were in the game. It would display a miniature screen on you. So like you got the TV screen in your face. That's how they would do it. You'd put on this headset and it was ultra high res that you couldn't even see the lines, the scan lines. And you know, you had the controller in your hand and it was amazing. It was everything you would have imagined it, except with one caveat. If you would have told me, but you had to play with a Wii remote and you were just pointing and aiming and flailing around. If that's what VR would have been, it would have crushed me. That's exactly what VR has turned into. My problem with VR is the controller. And everyone tells me, but you have to play it. You have to experience it yourself in order to understand. I get that it will be immersive. I get, doing this, like I'm actually aiming a shotgun in the first person. The tech has gotten better. When you aim a gun, that's not how you aim a gun. I live in Seattle, I'm sorry. I've only seen it aimed this way. I understand that the tech's gotten better when you're aiming a gun or holding an item. The hands, they do the wobbling thing. I understand it's gotten better. Things are more stable. I understand that the camera is better. The screen door effect and the nausea associated with that is better. The tech's just gotten better. I understand all that, and it's designed to be an immersive experience. Just something about the waggle controls really rubbed me the wrong way. But that's what's explained to me. What I have to explain to you is this. These games are designed surrounding that controller and the waggle controls. That severely limits the type of game you could have. The best example we have of a real game in VR is Half-Life Alyx. Half-Life Alyx is a real game. But I've seen clips of it. Does it look cool? Yeah. There's some cool tech there, but you're still like doing the controls and throwing things and aiming, and there's still some wobbly jank. I would want a full-ass fucking game where you could do all sorts of cool shit, not just aim and wobble and throw. I want a game where you could do all sorts of cool shit in the fucking game. Because they give you an actual tool you could use, an actual controller. All I want is a normal controller with a VR headset. All I want is an experience like Half-Life Alyx or Skyrim VR or Doom VR. Like, that's what I want. I don't want the waggle controls. I don't want an experience that's custom tailored to the waggle controls, which I'm sure it's great as an experience, but I don't want an experience. I want a game. I'm a gamer. I want to play a video game. I bought a video game console so I could play the games. I don't want an experience. I don't want this fucking controller. And there's problems with it, and that is my biggest reservation still. Again, I've played all sorts of stuff. I've played Kinect games I like. I've played Nintendo Wii games that are fun. But those aren't the games I want. When I go to fire up my console, I don't want to play a Wii game with waggle controls. I don't want gaming forever to be Wii Sports. I don't want to fucking do it. I don't want every game I pick up, I don't want to tap on a screen. I don't want to do it. Every time I play a multiplayer game, I don't want it to be a service title that I have to fucking sift through all the virtual currencies and bullshit just to fucking play a match. Likewise, I don't want to fucking play with waggle controls when I'm playing VR. I just want to play a game. All VR has to do is sell me on the headset, the virtual part. And I get some people will argue part of that experience is the controls. I don't think so. I don't fucking think so. How the fuck is holding a controller going to take me out of the experience if I could have those experiences without VR at all? I've had immersive experiences. It doesn't pull me out of the experience if I'm holding a controller because it's all in the mind. If you could trick your mind into thinking you're there, your mind can compartmentalize and acclimate and trick other parts of your body. I've literally played games where for a split second I think I'm actually there looking out onto the vista, watching the sunset, getting spooked when I notice something is next to me and there's a deer running by or something like that. That's the reason why these like first-person horror games are so hard hitting, is because they're immersive. Your brain does the job for itself. You don't need waggle controls to convince your brain you're more there than you really are. Especially when you're seeing the shit fucking freaking out on screen and shit like that. I ain't sold. I don't think I'll ever be. And I don't want to buy a $500 device just to try it out. But this goes to what I'm saying, to the problem with the controls. So now we got PSVR and it's not backcompat at all. None of the games are backcompat with PSVR 2. And why? Is because they've made the controls more waggle. They've took more buttons away. We're going down, we're continuing to go down this route. The product has continuously been niche. I get VR has been, it's gotten more popularized. It's gotten more mainstream. There's a lot of different devices out there. There's a lot of competition. Obviously, it's getting some money. Money is going into this thing. But that's part of the reason why, is because the prices are through the roof. But it's still a very niche thing. I don't know how popular this thing's going to get, but I really think, well, they've drawn the line in the sand. They've made their decision. They're trying to go after the casual market, the people looking for an experience. They're not trying to go after people like me. And if I do ever do VR, it's going to be because I want an experience. It's never going to be because I want it to be a vertical in my gaming. And that's sad. So, all right. Time for the main event! Shocktober. What have you been playing, motherfucker? This is my special Shocktober version of What Have You Been Playing. I started my first game last night. I'm actually not playing very many games at all and don't really have anything to report. Let me take a quick look if I could find it. Where the fuck we at? Where's my book? Ah, here it is. Trying to think if I actually beat a game in the past from last week. Yeah, I did. The last game I beat was Infamous Second Son. I haven't actually beaten a game since last week, so nothing new to report there. However, I could give you a forecast because I planned all this shit out. Every year, I get down on some spooky Halloween-themed games and have a ball. It's something I always thought sounded dumb. A couple people I knew kind of did that. I was like, what's the point? Just play what you want to fucking play. Who cares if it's like October? Just play whatever. But getting into the spirit of things, getting pumped, saving, some of these games. Like next year, I'm going to be playing Callisto Protocol and the Dead Space remake. I don't know how good those games are going to be. I think they're going to be cool, though. I'm pumped for both of them. I'm not going to be able to play them when they first come out, because I'm going to save them until Shocktober next year. And it's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to that. Likewise, there's some shit I've been waiting for. And games that have been out, games I already bought, games that are in my playlist that sitting on my hard drive even, haven't been able to touch, won't let myself touch it until now. So, really quickly first, I'm currently playing Shipbreaker. It was my goal to beat this thing and get it away, put it away before Shocktober started. And I couldn't do it. The game's so goddamn long. The last time I checked, I put in 55 hours about into this thing. Great game. I love it. It is one of the most AAA games I've played in a long time. What I mean by that is the game works. The game doesn't just work. The game doesn't just work flawlessly. The game has a lot of intricate systems, an amazing physics engine, and in spite of that, it works flawlessly. Zero jank. Zero. I don't think I've played a game with zero jank before. I haven't clipped through a wall once. Nothing's spazzed out. That's not true. There was one thing. There was one problem I had. Something. It was a hydroponics machine. Just every time I would interact with it, move it, or fucking take out a part or anything, it would just blow up! Straight the fuck up. I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's like, I didn't know, is it leaking gas? Or I don't know what's going on with this thing. Did I have a bad reaction? It's like, surely 3 times in a row fucking with this thing, it happened all, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. So I looked up online, and apparently their latest update that they pushed made it so that the hydroponics machine, like 2 of them would be spawned occupying the same space. And when you try to move or fuck with one of them, the 2 of them would like collide and the game would like cause an explosion. That is the only jank that happened, but to be completely fair, that was part of a faulty update that happened, and it appears to have, the problem had stopped. Because the game, I don't know if it updated, it probably did, but I think they pushed an update, and it updated automatically, because I got my shit set on, instant on mode. I think they pushed out a stealth update one of these times. But I've fucked with them since then. Same problem hadn't happened. But that is my only example of jank or bugs or anything like that. Aside from that, the game crashed a couple of times on me. Like, it just kicked me out of the dashboard like 3 times. But again, to be fair, that happens with most games. And I put in almost 60 whole hours in this thing. So it's bound to happen. Far Cry 6, years later, it's been patched multiple times. That game crashed on me several times before. But, so it is what it is. But other than that, like, no weirdness in the game. There's nothing that just doesn't work. Everything works properly. And it's so amazing. This game's 120 frames per second, by the way. That's great. It's just such a fantastic game. Such a breath of fresh air. The quality is really going into this thing. My only gripe about it is it has this weird gross politics story. All the pink hairs and the people of color, everybody white and male is a bumbling idiot. It's this whole story arc with, pro-union. It's just super duper cringy. I don't mind it all that bad, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not really gonna like raise my pitchfork. I'm too lazy to raise the pitchfork. Yeah, I'm too lazy to raise the pitchfork. To be quite honest, it's not really bothering me that bad, but it is there. I am gonna mention it. So, other than that. Ooh. I'm on my new diet. I'm eating very, 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 very small meals every 3 hours. I have to eat like 6 times a day. Got to regulate my blood sugar and shit like that. Anyway, it's a half an hour until I have to eat again, and I'm getting a little weird. I'm getting a little tired, getting a little woozy. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. So, if my energy levels have dropped way down, now you know why. Because I'm all fucked up. So that's Shipbreaker. Still playing that. Great game. Fantastic game. I think I'm wrapping it up, though. I think I'm wrapping it up. I'm going to continue to play it alongside my other games. And then when that's over, I'm just going to dive head on into my other stuff. But I do have a little list of games I want to play. And like I said, I started my first one last night a little bit early. That is Ghosts and Goblins Resurrected. Or Resurrection. I don't remember which one. I initially thought this was just a remake, a stylized remake of the original Ghosts and Goblins game. It is not. It is a complete... It's a best way to describe this game is this is new Super Mario Brothers to classic Super Mario Brothers. It's not a sequel. It's not a remake. It's not its own thing. It's a reimagining of classic Mario in a whole new fashion, with a remake and a reimagining and a sequel and everything thrown in there all together. New Super Mario Bros. Was revolutionary at the time. I remember playing that thing for the first time, showing friends and shit, having so much fun. That's what Ghosts and Goblins Resurrected is. It's in the style of the old, stylized with the graphics, of course, and art style. It's hard as balls, plays just like it. It pays homage greatly to the original Ghosts and Goblins, less so the newer games and the newer ports like Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the Super Nintendo, and I think it's called Super Goblins and Ghouls on the Sega Genesis version. I thought the Sega Genesis version was the same game. It's not. The Sega Genesis version is a completely standalone different game than Super Ghouls and Ghosts for the Super Nintendo. Both games are fantastic. I really do love the series. But this is not a remake. It is not a retelling. It's its own thing. New levels. Look at them over there fighting. Oh, they're not fighting. They do this thing. I call it playing Pop the Grape. The little white one. His nickname is Little White Grape. Because when he was a little baby, I used to hold him, and I used to ask him, "Who's my little white grape?" And he'd go, "Me." So he's a little white grape, and they would, ever since he was a baby, Ridley would stand over him and play with him, and would kind of paw at him and stuff like this. The little white one would lay on his back and pretend like he's a victim. They wouldn't actually get mean or hurt each other. They would play fight, and they do it to this day. Even though the little one is bigger than the gray one now, they do the same thing. He's over there laying on his back, pretending like he's helpless, and then Ridley would like nip at him and stuff. And I used to say, "Don't pop the grape. Be nice. You don't want to hurt the baby." But that's what they're doing right now. They're playing Pop the Grape. They do that for a little bit, and then they get mean. One of them gets tired of playing and will start to fucking get mean. Either the little one will stand up, or the big one will... Anyway, that's what they're doing. So, Ghost and Goblins Resurrection. I didn't play very much of this. This is the game I bought when it was on sale a couple months after it came out. It came out earlier this year, I think, or maybe late last year. I don't remember. But it's been sitting on my hard drive until this day. I saw it, and even though it's not going to like give me chills or anything, it's not going to scare me. It is a Halloween, spooky, focused game. I pegged this thing from the get-go. I said, I'm going to play this during Shocktober, and that's exactly what I did. My official first game in my Shocktober playlist. I'm playing this thing. I popped it in and I beat the first level last night. This game's hard. This game's hard. Of course it's hard. Of course it is. But I'm doing it. I'm loving the music. I'm loving the sound effects. I really like the remake, the collectibles, and the magic. The boss battles are actual boss battles. Damn, this game's fucking hard though. I'm gonna do it, of course. Hard games don't dissuade me. I'll bitch about it maybe a little bit, but I'll get it done. I'll get it done. So far, I'm having fun with this thing. Next up on the docket, I haven't played any of these games yet, but I'm going to, and we'll see where things go. Next game up on the docket is House of Ashes. This is the third game in the Dark Pictures anthology. The first one being Man of Medan. Was not a fan of it at all. Was not a fan of that game at all. It was an okay experience, right? I blasted through it in about 4 hours. I figured, well, I could go through it. I had a couple of jump scares. I figure I could, like, put in 4 hours or so of one of these stupid games every year. Just as, like, a spooky story or something like that. So I played the second one last year, A Little Hope, and, wow. I was impressed with A Little Hope. They fixed all the story plot problems I had. They improved the gameplay. Visually, the game looked better as well. Big fan of Little Hope. Big fan of Little Hope. I loved it, and now I am pumped to play House of Ashes. This is the third game. I know almost nothing about this except for the premise of the game. It takes place in the Afghan Operation Desert Fox, in the Afghan, and people are trapped under kind of like the Descent. People are like trapped in the caves in there, and there's something around it, crawling around in there. I'm excited for it. I heard that one was good. These games don't get too much buzz, really. House of Ashes didn't get that much buzz. Part of that, I'm assuming, is because it's a story that takes place during the Bush-era war regime, and, you know how it goes with politics and gaming. If there's certain things people don't like, they just don't cover it. I'm guessing that's part of the reason why, but everyone who has touched it said it was pretty good. So I'm going to be playing that too. And I only have 2 more games on the docket here. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research, but these are the big ones I want to play. Initially, I wasn't going to do a Shocktober this year. Initially, I was just going to skip it because there wasn't tons of games I wanted to play. But then I learned Scorn was coming out this year, and there was a couple other things. I, of course, want to play House of Ashes, so I'm doing it. I just don't know. I kind of have a feeling that I'm going to go through and finish all of these games by the middle of the month. And if that happens, well, then maybe I'll be done with Shocktober early. But I'm also doing other things too. I'm watching some TV shows, and well, I plan on watching the final season of the fuck is it called? The one with the kids, Cuties. Oh fuck no, the final season of Stranger Things. They're not kids anymore. I think they're like 18 now or something like that. I'm gonna watch a final season of that. I'm gonna try House on Haunted Hill. I heard that's pretty good. I didn't watch the last season of Castlevania on Netflix. Oh, real quick, when it comes to anime and shit, Castlevania is really good. I'm watching Cyberpunk, the new Cyberpunk. It's like a 10-episode thing. Wow, it's good. Don't watch this with your family. This game has... It's not a game, it's a TV show, anime. This game has so much everything in it. It has so much blood and gore and swearing and nudity. Dongs and pussy. Straight up. This game has so much of it, too. Everything. Everything. It's a little cringy. A little cringy. As a 40-year-old dude watching, fucking pussy and titties in anime form, I'm kind of, my wife will kind of like walk by or something like that. I get a little, my heart jumps up in my throat a little bit. It's like, I don't want to come and watch it. Now, it's so much of everything. Don't watch this with a family member, for Christ's sake. Don't do it. But it's really good. It's really good. It's heart-wrenching, tons of violence. It's so good. Anyway, I got other plans other than video games for the Shocktober. It's gonna be fun. But as I mentioned before, Scorn. I have been following this game for so long. I don't really have anything new to say about it, but it's coming out, I think, on the 20th, well before the end of the month. So I'm going to get and play this thing day one. Even if it wasn't on Game Pass, I would have bought this game and played it day one. I just hope it's not broken. There has been some early access builds floating around that reviewers and stuff have been trying out. They haven't reported on any bugs or glitches or performance problems, so I have high hopes with that. This game should be good. This game should be good. This thing has been in development for like 7 years or some shit. It's been a long time. I've been watching and following this game for a long goddamn time. And they've delayed it and delayed it and delayed it. Some feature creep, meaning they got ideas and features they want to put in the game, and that just delays the development cycle for it even longer and longer and longer because they keep adding stuff to it. That's a real thing, but that's the reason why it took so long. But on the flip side, this game's meaty. It's going to be great. I'm kind of on media blackout when it comes to this. I'm not watching any more videos or footage or opinions on it. I'm already sold. I just can't wait for this thing to get here in about 20 days or so. Very excited for Scorn. That is going to be the crown jewel of this year, unless this next game takes the crown, and that is Madison. Madison came out a little bit ago. I've been following this game a little bit, fell out of it, kind of forgot about it a little bit. Last year it was Visage. Last year that game scared the living hell out of me, literally. I got a close friend. He's kind of into these games too. He loved Visage. He said that game scared him a lot. His tolerance is a lot higher than mine, though. He said Madison was scarier. So, hopefully I'm ready for that. But it's first person, lurking around a haunted house, jump scares and shit. So that's what this game is. I've seen some of it. I remember before it came out, some early access stuff. It was a little rough around the edges, but it looks pretty creepy. It's polished up and released, and my friend said he liked it even better. It's even scarier. Because a lot of the stuff was like psychological in Visage. This one, while yeah, there's a lot of psychological stuff, there's actual lurking danger in it. I do this to myself once a year. I build up tolerances. I don't really watch or play or do anything scary because it scares me. But I do love horror. I do. I love horror. I love the mythos surrounding these things. I love the culture. I love the gore porn. I love the culture surrounding horror, both in cinema and gaming. And I kind of go on a blackout for a whole year, specifically so I could build up a tolerance or lose my tolerance. And I don't watch horror movies, and I don't really watch TV as is, and I don't go out of my way to play these games unless it's something like Ghosts and Goblins, which isn't scary at all. It's just a fun classic game I saved just for this instance. But something like Dead Space or something like that, I will save for this month. So when I go to play it, when I actually do sit down to do it, it will scare the shit out of me. And it's a thrill, and I love it, and I'm a little hesitant to play, but I'll do it. I'll fucking do it, and I'll tell you if it's scary or not. I'll tell you if it's scarier than Visage. As it currently stands, Visage is by far the scariest game I've ever played. I've literally noped out of that game several times playing it. What I mean is I'm playing, I'll get freaked out and turn the game off immediately. Like straight up like, nope, not doing it. Good shit, though. Good shit. And if Madison is, in fact, scarier, I'm in for a... Well, I don't want to say in for a treat, but... But anyway, that's my Shocktober forecast. I'm gonna try to do some research and play a couple of other things. I'll keep you guys posted, of course, in my next video. Expect that around the middle of the month. I'll have a better view on, you know, what I want to do with Shocktober. I'll give you guys an update with the shows I've been watching, with the games I played and beat. Ghosts and Goblins for sure will probably be beat by then. I'll have put Shipbreaker down. I'll give you guys my full account on that. But yeah, things are looking fun. Like I said, I started doing this. I thought it was kind of dumb, but it has become, over time, slowly, it takes some planning to do, but if you could do this for yourself, it's a real treat. I know it seems corny, you know, grown-ass man doing the Halloween thing, but I know it seems corny, but it really pays off, and it's just so fun. It's just so fucking fun. Last but not least, I got one last little story here for you before I let you guys go. We got a new PlayStation 5 SKU spotted in the wild. There are reports that PlayStation is making a new PlayStation 5 SKU. SKU, or SKU, it's a new unit. It's not a new PlayStation 5, although it can be. A good example would be the Xbox One and the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X isn't a new SKU. It's a completely different machine. It's still an Xbox One, but it is completely different. The Xbox One S is a new SKU. The Xbox One S is a new SKU. It's identical, I believe, to the the base fat Xbox One. It has some minor tweaks and changes with the silicon on the inside, maybe a different fan, different compartmental placement, so you know it cools better a little bit. But for the most part, it is the same system, just some things changed on the back end on a hardware level. Think of it like an update, like an automatic update getting pushed through the internet or something like that, or a new version of the software, except it's on the hardware side. It has to go through the proper changes, go down the ladder through the pipeline. They got to order parts and stuff. It's all planned out. The new SKU, there's a new PlayStation 5 SKU. And this one isn't like the PlayStation 5 Pro or anything. It could turn out to be that way. We could get an announcement and it could be a PlayStation 5 Pro. In fact, there are rumors that Sony is already working on their new PlayStation 5 Pro. And it's due out sooner rather than later. This might be it. This might be it. But for conversation's sake, that is not what I wanted to talk about. In this SKU, the one that was spotted, it is reported it's not going to have a disk drive. And the way the conversation is going is it is viewed that this new PlayStation 5 SKU will just be the new PlayStation 5. They're probably going to discontinue the PS5 with the hard drive and the PS5 without the hard drive. The two models currently on the market right now. I have the one with the hard drive, but I'm thinking, and they got the numbers too. They know who is playing games physically and who is just downloading and playing the shit digitally. They know. And I think it's something like 80% of PlayStation gamers aren't even using discs. We're officially there. We're officially there. But this new one isn't going to have a hard drive. And so I think we're looking at, in the near future here, when we talk about the PlayStation 5, we're talking about one. It's not this version or that version. It's just going to be the PlayStation 5. and it's not going to have a hard drive. That's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. It has also been reported that this no hard drive new SKU of the PS5 is going to not only have no hard drive, but it's going to have a detachable one. There is a product there that you could plug in, and I've been saying this for years. You go back and watch my older videos of the future of gaming and other things. The way the industry is going is we're not going to have discs in our consoles at all. It's just not going to happen. There's more to it than that. There's more to this story than just it's not going to have a hard drive. I've been saying for years, what have I said? What have I said? Give me a fucking like on this video if you've heard me say this shit before. What we're going to see is detachable hard drives. They're still going to make games. They're still going to make physical games. We're going to have small batch publishers make physical games. Maybe the first parties will do it as well, but we're still going to get physical games. The hard drives just aren't going to be sold with the console. And we're going to have detachable hard drives. I always said that we're going to have third-party detachable hard drives. You know, maybe limited run games will formerly make hardware themselves that will connect and partner up with, can connect to the new systems. But it turns out PlayStation, as a first party, will be making their own detachable hard drive. Which is good. Which is good. I think this is a good thing. I think this is a good thing. Even though I bought the disc PS5, the disc version, I do not buy discs anymore for my Xbox. I'm done with that. I'm all digital with the Xbox. PlayStation 5, this is probably going to be my last generation buying physical media. But, ooh, I'm getting the gross hiccups and shit. I really need to let you guys go. But like I said, this is probably going to be the last generation with hard drives, and I think that generation will come to a close. By the time that this generation comes to a close, we will have no hard drives. We will already be there. We don't have to wait for the next generation to have no hard drive in our system. That is going to come before the end of this generation. PlayStation is already making a new SKU with no hard drive in it. Granted, they will have a detachable hard drive, which you could buy extra on the side, which is fine. I don't need to do that because I already got one with a hard drive in it. But yeah, I do think this will be the last generation. And they're going the route that hashtag Turbo was right. We're going the route that I predicted. These things won't have hard drives, but fret not, that doesn't mean the complete end to physical media. I don't think physical media will ever die. Even after the consoles come out and there's not going to be a physical hard drive, we will have detachable hard drives. That will become a new niche market. Limited run games who make small batch, limited run physical copies of discs, basically for collectors, they will make their own version of the detachable hard drive. Other third parties will have Xbox and PlayStation compatible detachable hard drives. You just plug the thing in the back on the USB and have it sit next to your console, or maybe on another shelf or something like that, and there it is. You could still buy your discs, you could still collect, and there it is, problem solved. I don't think that's ever going to go away, especially if it can persist legally through partnership with the official support from the first parties. I don't think there's a chance in hell this will go away. Not unless collectors and stuff like that completely give up on it and don't give a fuck. But at that point, it's not in the hands of Sony or Microsoft anymore. It's completely done by third parties. So the next question is what is Nintendo going to do? What is Nintendo now going to do when it comes to physical media? Are they going to have something similar? If they keep going the route they're going, all the memory cost of their games, the storage is way down. Like a Nintendo Switch game memory-wise, storage-wise, is already significantly smaller than any average Xbox or PlayStation game. So they don't really need that. Hell, they already fucking sell games with no actual game cartridge in them. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Nintendo follows this, but I think the writing's been on the wall. I don't know how much Microsoft knows, but this is something Microsoft has been wanting to do. This is something Microsoft has been wanting to do for a while. I think it was just a PR move. Both Microsoft and PlayStation have been wanting to do, kick out these consoles with no hard drive. But you damn well know that if either of them did it, then the other one will claim that they got something the other one doesn't. But they both want to do this. They both want to fucking do this, and now we know that this is in the works. I'm all for it. I'm all for that digital future. And there is a lot of concerns with the digital rights management and how that works. I was looking at my backwards compatibility games for the OG Xbox and 360 titles on my Series X. I have a lot. I've started to build up my collection, but a good quarter of my games, I'll say, a good quarter of them. I have over 320, by the way. I have over 320 OG Xbox and 360 games digitally via backcompat that I bought that I owned. I was going through my library, and about a quarter of them, while I could still download them and play them, they are unavailable for purchase. Unavailable. All the 360 games for the all the 360 Halo games, all of them, you can't buy them. If you want to play Halo 4, if you want to play Halo 3, if you want to play these, and you think, oh, backcompat is a thing, you cannot go on the Microsoft Store and buy and download this. You could only download it if you previously owned it. And I suppose if you have a disc, you could put it in and it'll work, but you cannot. And what's jarring about that is a lot of them are Microsoft first parties. A lot of them are games like Halo. A lot of them are Bethesda games. They just strip off the story. You can't buy them. Because they want you to buy and play the Master Chief Collection. They want you to buy it that way. So there's a lot of issues there with them yanking things off the store. I think once we go all digital, I think once PC and the HD twins go all digital, and we officially enter the all digital future, where you don't even have an option going forward to buy physical media, I think the narrative will change. The plot will change there. It'll be a completely new set of rules, a new mindset. People already mostly buy digital now anyway. We've already slowly seen the narrative of digital rights, the digital rights movement and games preservation be more prominent. I think it'll go into overdrive once that happens. And I really hope these companies do right by us. Yeah, fucking right. We're gonna have to fight tooth and fucking nail for every inch, every goddamn inch we get, like we have been from the beginning. Mark my fucking words. But yeah, that's interesting, I guess. But really, like I said, nonetheless, I'm excited for this digital future. There are, I say some, but in reality, it's a lot. There's a lot of questions and concerns I have there. But overall, gotta be honest, just playing digitally, no disc, it's improved my gaming. Yeah, there's a couple older titles I want to get to, but I'm not booting up Kingdom for Keflings digitally on my Xbox 360 to play because I want to. I ain't doing it. If I want to play Halo Combat Evolved, I'll play the Xbox 360. I mean the Xbox One version on the Master Chief Collection. Shadow of the Colossus, one of my favorite games of all time. I'll play the remake. I'm not trying to minimize or downplay the issue, but, you know, the times I wanted to go back and play an older game and had trouble because of hardware issues, I could count on a single hand. And you know what the biggest problem I encountered when it comes to that is? Is the hardware itself. Pulling my Xbox 360 out of the closet to play a game that wasn't supported on backwards compatibility. It was Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light, I think it was called. That the whole experience sucked. It sucked balls. All the cables and shit were like they uh, they were low res. I didn't have the proper hookup on my TV. I had to like dig out an old TV that I was about to throw away. Like the whole process sucked. Nah, physical games. Okay, so they're not supported digitally, but what are we going to play them on? Our old hardware that doesn't work anyway? Like that's the persistence of the problem. That is the major thing there. Not whether or not it's digitally compatible. I don't know. I play old stuff. I love old games. It has its place, but moving forward, like just give us new stuff. Give us new stuff. If we gotta shed, if we gotta cut some fat, I'm with it. Just don't cut it all off. Don't cut all the fat out. But cutting off some of the fat, I'm okay with. Playing digitally, being able to seamlessly jump between games with a quick resume is awesome. Being able to just, if there's an emergency or something, just turn the console off. I don't even have to pause it. Just turn the console off. I turn it back on again, and there it is right there on the hard drive. I don't have to read from a disc. Downloading the games I want to play, going through my life, seeing a digital list. It's been awesome. It's really been awesome these past few years, these past couple of generations. I don't want to go back to the way things are. So if we got to cut some fat, I'm okay with it. But don't say I didn't tell you. Hashtag is Turbo was right. We're going to get some detachable disk drives for this shit. Just want to throw that out there. And that's all I have to say about that shit. Thanks for listening to me, bitch. I told you I'd get a new video up today. Man, I'm a little proud of myself. I went through all of the topics. I didn't have to cut nothing out. Anyway, I gotta eat. I'm done. I wish you guys all the best. Thanks for listening to me, bitch. Again, give it a try. Give Shocktober a try. Do something. Custom tailor your own spooky experience. It doesn't even have to be scary shit. It could just be Halloween, fun-themed stuff. Something like Ghosts and Goblins, or the Castlevania anime, something like that. It's all in good fun. Anyway, I'll see you guys in about 15 days or so, unless an emergency happens and I gotta throw up a quick video to bitch about something. You know how it goes. I'll give you a proper shout out next time. Keep on gaming, everyone, and don't ever fucking stop.